So, we've had a big chat at home in regards to eating your own eggs, um, drinking your own milk, just having chickens, bird flu. My mum, she was the last one on the farms, and she wasn't really properly on the farms. Like, they just started packing the farms up before she actually grew up, sort of thing. But she remembers a lot of things. So I asked questions. But these farms, they were more Eastern European style farms where you really had your farm and the produce was priced better. Like, you could make a living off your farm. Not a fantastic living, but they made a living. They had, in my mum's day, they had their own pub, they had their own masonry, like brick making facility, and because I'm near the river, hence the pub and the brick making. And they had their farm, their land. They used to grow hemp, all the vegetables. They used to have cows for milk. Pork was a big one. But anyway, so I said, like, they're talking about all this danger about drinking your own milk. I go, did you know anyone that used to get sick back in your day? She goes, no, I didn't know anyone. But, like, she brought up a good point. She goes, you got to remember, we had one cow. Well, that one cow supplied two houses. And we watched that cow. We nursed that cow. Like, when that cow was sick, we knew it was sick. We knew how to handle it. So, no, we never got sick from it. But when you come to mass produce, a dairy farm might have 300 to 500 cows, possibly more. She goes, when you've got that many cows, one cow gets sick in the back paddock or inside the herd and the farmer doesn't spot it, it could ruin a whole vat of milk. Even worse, it could get out to public and hand off some pretty bad diseases. See, so that's the difference. Same with the chickens. I go, did you guys have problem with all this bird flu and everything back then? And being they were from Croatia, so that's a flight path. You're on the Mediterranean, that's a flight path between Africa and Europe. And she said, yes, we had bird flu. But she goes, I remember the neighbour got it once and we didn't because the chickens weren't connected. So that was a beauty too. She goes, you've got to remember here in Australia, again, mass producing. We're putting all the chickens in one shed. So one chicken gets it, you lose the whole shed. So there you go. Some interesting things came up. They used to brew their own alcohol. And I said, oh, here in Australia, they tell us we can't do it because we'll poison. She goes, no. She goes, because we did it for centuries, over 1,000 years. We brewed our own alcohol. We knew how to do it. We picked our own mushrooms. We knew which ones to pick to eat and which ones were poisonous. We knew that. And that, my friends, is what the government has taken away from us. All right? That's what they've taken away from us. And they've told us we're too stupid to understand how to look after ourselves. I watched an interesting thing on Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traore, and he put a tender out to build a road from one city to another. And the tenders came through at a massive price. And he said, you know what? I'm going to buy the tractors and I'm going to teach my people how to build a road. And he did. Now, I don't know how far down that road's going to go. And for a fraction of the price, we used to do. And when they questioned him on it, he said, mate, we used to run into problems for over 2,000 years and we used to fix it ourselves. He goes, why can't we do it now? And they questioned him, what if something goes wrong on the road? And he said, well, we'll fix it. We'll learn from that and we will fix it. What a difference Milo makes. But anyway, yeah, that was, like, it's good still having the elders that were around. And mind you, like, my mum would only know a fraction of what her mum knew. They were the real knowledgeable ones, and they've all gone. So we have lost all of that education and all of that knowledge. We've lost it all from being modernization. Anyway, that's all I was going to talk about today, guys. Take care. We'll chat soon.